There's just something about autumn, right? The air gets that certain chill, you see the leaves start to fall, and the nights start closing in way, way earlier. And that growing darkness, it has a way of changing things, doesn't it? It can take a place you know like the back of your hand and turn it into something filled with shadows and doubt. Tonight, we are digging into four true accounts of when that darkness decided to show what it was hiding.
It's a question we've all thought about. It's this deep, primal fear, the feeling that when your own eyes are useless, something else's might not be. That something is watching you. Just hold that thought for a second as we get started. What are you most afraid of in the dark? Because these stories, well, they might just bring some of those fears to life.
You know, every truly scary story has a moment just like this one. A moment where the whole mood just shifts on a dime, where a good time and a few laughs suddenly curdle into something else. Genuine fear. This line comes straight from our first story, and believe me, it's the exact second everything starts to go wrong. So our first story kicks off with something we've all done, a game. The most innocent childhood game you can think of. But for one group of siblings, a late-night game of hide-and-seek turned into a terrifying lesson about what can be lurking right there in the shadows, just out of sight. So try to picture this. It's about 9 o'clock at night, early October. You've got those old, rusty orange streetlights casting a weird glow over a parking lot, and right next to it is this long, dark alley. I mean, it's the perfect spooky lighting for a game, right? It's exciting, it's a little bit scary, but it's just a game. Or so they thought. So at first, it's just this weird, tall shape at the far end of the alley. And then they realize what it is. It's a clown. Which is odd, but hey, maybe an early Halloween thing, you know? But then it doesn't just stand there. It starts to wave. And then it starts moving toward them. And right at the moment when that nervous feeling turns into real panic, a second clown shows up. Yeah, the game is officially over. And this is the part that gives me chills. The kids bolt inside, they're safe with their mom, the door is locked, the threat should be gone. But later that night, one of them hears a scratching noise outside his window, a window on the second story. And when he looks, it's there, the clown, face to face with him. Somehow, it got up there. The one place you're supposed to be safe, your own room, wasn't safe at all. Okay, our second story taps into a totally different kind of fear. This isn't about a sudden jump scare. No, this is about that slow, creeping dread. It's about something as normal as the walk home from school and how one little unsettling detail can grow day by day into a full-blown nightmare. Just look at how this thing escalated. For a whole week, it's just a person, a silhouette, in the window of this creepy, beat-up old house. It's weird, for sure, but maybe you try to ignore it. But then, the next week, the figure isn't in the window anymore. They're on the porch. They're not hiding now. They're waiting. And then, a week before Halloween, the waiting is over, and the chase begins. Can you just imagine the absolute terror of that moment? The narrator is hiding behind a dumpster, trying not to breathe, as the man who was just chasing them stalks around the alleyway. The fear is so real, it's physical. You can feel your heart pounding. And then, even worse, you can hear the man's breathing, impossibly close. And here is the twist that makes it all so much worse. When the police finally go to check out that creepy old house, they find out it's been empty for years. The person terrorizing this kid wasn't some weird neighbor. They were a squatter, living totally unseen inside an abandoned home, turning a landmark on a kid's daily walk into a predator's den. For our third story, we're heading to a much more isolated place, a rural village over in Poland. This one is all about a quiet, normal evening dog walk that gets completely shattered by seeing something that is so out of place, it becomes the bizarre first act of a crime. I mean, seriously, can you even imagine seeing this? In the gloomy darkness right where the streetlights give up and the forest begins, it's not someone trying to hide. It's someone kneeling, bolt upright, in a white robe. Just perfectly still. There's this unnatural calm about it that's way more unsettling than if they were running around. They aren't doing anything except watching. So let's just walk through how this went down. First, the dog starts going crazy. It knows something is wrong. Then, the narrator sees the figure, and wisely, they get the heck out of there. But the story's not over. Hours later, sirens are wailing all over the village. The next morning, they find out the old stable
right near where that figure was kneeling, was burned to the ground. Arson. And this is the question that just hangs in the air. The sighting was hours before the fire was reported. It suggests this chilling, unbelievable patience. What was that person in the robe doing for all those hours in the pitch black, just waiting for the right moment to strike? Were there others? It's a question you'll never, ever get an answer to.
All right, for our final story, we are going to a place that should be the absolute definition of harmless autumn fun, a pumpkin patch. But this account is a stark reminder that even the most cheerful, happy places have dark corners, where something that just defies all explanation might be waiting for you.
So, you know the scene. It starts off great. Friends, crisp air, pumpkins everywhere. But way at the back of the patch, right by the tree line, something is just standing there. And the first thought, of course, is that it's just a decoration, right? A scarecrow. But there's that deep, nagging feeling in your gut that says, no, that's not what that is. And this is where the whole encounter just goes off the rails. This isn't just some person in a costume trying to be scary. It moves in a way that just doesn't make sense. It seems to get closer without actually moving. It vanishes from one spot and then reappears, like, right behind them. This isn't a normal chase. This feels like it's breaking the laws of physics. This one detail, right here, is what makes the story so different. The thing doesn't walk. It doesn't run. It glides. It floats over the ground. That single, completely unnatural movement is what makes this encounter so utterly terrifying. Because whatever it is, it's not human.
So when you tie these 4 stories together, a really clear and unsettling theme starts to pop up. And it's not really about monsters or ghosts, not necessarily. It's about how darkness gives the perfect cover for the unpredictable and for the downright evil. And this right here is the heart of it all. Every single story started somewhere comfortable, somewhere familiar. You're playing a game with your siblings. You're walking home from school. You're taking your dog for a walk. You're at a pumpkin patch with friends. But in every single case, the darkness allowed some hidden danger to crawl out, turning a place you thought was safe into a scene of pure terror. So the next time you're out and the sun starts to dip below the horizon, and you see those street lights flicker on, pushing back the shadows, maybe just remember these stories. Remember that darkness isn't empty. It's just a place where things can hide. And that leaves all of us with one last, lingering question. What watches you from just beyond the light?